Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Alex Boerescu. I'm a senior solutions consultant at Appian based in London, UK. And today I'm going to walk you through my top three of the latest two Appian releases, 25.1 and 25.2. Now, I didn't get a chance to separately record 25.1, so it's going to be a combo of the two, but that means there are more features to look at. Just to quickly go through the agenda so you'll be able to skip or go to the exact feature that you're interested in. For 25.1, we're going to be covering reordering grid rows with drag and drop functionality, field level security in records, syncing records data using URLs for service-backed records, and an extra one, the extra long text as a new field type within records. For 25.2, we're looking at flexible dialog sizes for the dialogs that pop up when you click on an action for a record, new formatting options for the style text editor, the AI document center, and a bonus one, number 4, interacting with charts within Data Fabric Insights as part of Process HQ. Now, without further ado, let's go on and look at the first feature in my top for 25.1, which is reordering grid rows with drag and drop functionality. To bring this one to life, I'm going to be using one of the applications that I've built with you in a previous video, where I've shown you how to filter edible grids. And this was grocery list management, right? A great use case for Appian. Let's have a look at one of these grocery lists, snacks for the road trip. We got a couple of items here. Now, if we go ahead and update the list, we can see the information, but we can't reorder these rows. So let's see how we can do that out of the box now with Appian. I'm going to hit cancel here, move to designer view, and just so you know, I did have to update the record before this video, so I had to add another field which will basically hold the order within that list. I've called it item order in list. It has to be a numeric field. Now, if we go ahead and open the create or update grocery list interface, all we have to do is go ahead and select the editable grid. And within the component configuration on the right side, we're going to see that there's a new option called allow row reordering using drag and drop. So if I go ahead and select that, I'm going to have an error pop up saying that it can't evaluate it because we haven't fully configured it, right? So going ahead to reorder the data, here we have to provide the data object that we want to reorder. And that's going to be part of our real input, the record, and it is going to be the grocery list item over here. Now, unfortunately, I cannot select it via the design navigator. So I have to go ahead and use the expression mode, but we can easily go ahead and get the record dot fields and actually the relationship, and this would be the grocery list item. And I'm gonna hit OK over here. Now the next step that we have to do is to specify the order field. And here we have to specify the field within the record type. So we're not going to reference the rule input, but the field within the record type itself. So I'm going to go ahead and select the SEG grocery list item. And I'm going to specify the newly added field, which is the item order in list. And hit OK. Now we still have the error here because it says that the row order data is empty, is null or empty. That's because we're looking at a create screen here, so we don't have any items within this this data object, right? The way that we could bypass this error is to provide some test data initially, but I'm just gonna go ahead and save it, hope for the best, and see it live as I look at my application. So coming back to our main screen here, let's do a quick refresh. And if we go ahead and update the grocery list item, we see now that we've got on the left side, we've got this little waffle menu. And if we hover over it, it actually says drag to reorder. There's some shortcuts here as well. You can use some key combinations as well. So let's go ahead and put the fruit snacks on top. There we go. And let's do this. Okay, so we've seen how this works. Now, the next feature we're going to be looking at is the field level security. This is actually very easy. So if we go back to our grocery list item, in the security section, we did have the record level security. So we could define a security role on the record level, and basically we could define user founding groups or founding fields who could see those specific line items in the table, right? The record line items. Now we've added field level security where you can specify for the fields who can see those records. So maybe the price shouldn't be seen by somebody from specific departments, or the quantity, or even the items, right? I mean, for this specific use case, it's not that relevant, but think about invoices or orders or PII data. If you have information, personal information about personally identifiable information about certain people, you might not want all the people that have access to an application to see those. So you might hide the social security number or passport number or whatnot. And I do believe that by combining the field levels of security and the record level security, we do now have the security matrix for the records. So there are a lot of combinations that you can achieve there. Now, the third feature in 25.1 is syncing data using URLs. This is going to be a lengthier one, but it's pretty interesting. So bear with me. I've created a new application for this one. It's called Gotta Catch Them All. So probably that's going to be a pointer of what we're going to be doing here. But basically, we're going to create a new record type, and we're going to call it Pokemon. And we're going to be syncing Pokemon characters in our record type using pagination. So let's go ahead and define this. I did find an online REST API that provides me the list of Pokemons. So I'm going to say that this is based on a web service. It's a service-backed record. Hit next. I do want to use data fabric. And I'm going to create a new record data source because I don't have it. It doesn't exist yet. I do not have the integration, so I have to create a new integration, and I will have to create a new connected system for this one as well. So this is a REST API, so I'm going to choose the HTTP connected system. I'm going to call this the Pokemon API. I'm going to provide a base URL, which will be this one. No authentication. And we can even set this as a shortcut in the record type configuration. So if we need to create a new record type based on maybe another service within this API, we can easily do that. I'm just gonna leave it unchecked. So we've got the connected system created. Let's go ahead and create the integration, and we'll call this get Pokemons integration. And I'm going to save it in GCTA, my application, gotta catch them all in rules and constants. It will create an expression rule. And for syncing, we are going to sync this in batches because the response from the API is actually paginated. So it's not via sequential value. It is by text URL or URI. And we're going to see that in a second. And I'm going to hit create. Now, we have these objects that were created, the integration in a connected system, and also the the expression rule for the record data source. So we're going to have to update these objects. And let me open one by one and hit OK over here. So let's look at the connected system first. So we've got our at the integration. So we've got our base URL, and I believe here is Pokemon, that was the relative path. We do use a GET request. So let's go ahead and test this and see how it looks like. Okay, so we've got a success. Let's see what returns. So we've got a body, we've got a count of 1,300 Pokemons, and these are the details. Okay, I will go ahead and transform the response body, and I want to convert a JSON to Appian value. So let's see how that looks like. It's a bit better. I can see the body, which is a dictionary, the count, and the results, which is a list of dictionary. And we've got the name of the Pokemon and a URL with more details about that Pokemon. Now, as you can see, the pagination is within this parameter called next. And this is basically the next set of Pokemons, right? So we're querying 20 Pokemons at a time. Now, how do we go ahead and define that pagination itself? We do have a rule input here that says the next page URI should be, and let's see how that's going to work. But for now, I'm just going to save this integration and move over to my data source and see how that looks like. Now, if I go ahead and test this rule, I see a page response over here, and it is actually a blank object. I don't have anything within it. So if we look at this, we've got our default value over here. Now, if the integration is successful, page response should contain data and the result body results. And the next page should be integration response result body next. If we look at the local variables, our integration response local variable, which is populated using this integration, does contain all of the results, which are the result that contains the body, that contains the count, it contains the next set of data and 20 of the Pokemons. So this is already saved. I haven't changed anything. Let's go back to our record type and refresh this and see if we see any data. Indeed, we see some data, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to hit next. Now, this might not be the best API in terms of also containing the primary key field. I know for a fact that each name of the Pokemon is unique, so I'm going to use that as a primary key field. I don't recommend doing that. You should have an ID or at least generate an ID. And the unique fields, I'm going to say this is going to be the URL. Hit finish and save. Now, if we have a look at the data preview, we immediately get a sync failed error. It's saying that the record data did not apply the batch number correctly. The first two responses return the same data. I was expecting that because although we do get the pagination as part of the URL, we are not applying it in the integration. As you see, we're always using the base URL and the relative path. In order to apply that, we have to go ahead and build the URL from scratch and mention it in the expression. What we have to do here is basically create an if statement and say that if is this first run, we're going to use the base URL. If it's not the first run, if we're syncing, we're going to use the next URL that's part of the response. How do we do that? Simple. We checked the next page URI, the rule input. So if is null or empty of our rule input next page URI, that means it's the first run. So if that happens, all I have to do is use this as a base URL Otherwise, if that is not null or empty, go ahead and use the next page. All right. Hit OK, hit save, and then we can go back to our record type. And if we go back to sync history and we start a full sync, we see that the sync is in progress and we are bringing in all the records. Look at that. We have synced 1300 Pokemons. Now if we go back to the data preview, we can see all of our Pokemons over here. Now we can only preview up to 60 records at a time, so I actually should see more here. And if I refresh this, yeah, for some reason I can only see the first 20, but we did sync, as you saw, the full 1300 Pokemons. Now, these were the top 3 for 25.1. The extra one is the extra long text. So if we go back to our grocery list item, what we can do is in the data model, modify the source fields. Let's say we want to capture a recipe as well. I'm going to add the recipe field here. I'm going to make it extra long and save the changes. Now, extra long stores up to 64,000 characters. And I think this is a great way of storing data that you captured via the style text editor. And we're going to see in a second why is that. So I'm going to save the changes. And this was the bonus feature, the extra long text. Now, moving on to the top 3 in 25.2. We've got number 1. And again, it's not necessarily number 1, number 2, number 3, no particular order, but we've got the flexible dialog sizes. If we go to one of our actions in the grocery list, not in the list item, that would be part of the grocery list itself. There we go. For instance, creating a new grocery list. Before 25.2, we only had a couple of, we actually had 3 options here for the dialog size. I think it was small, medium, and large. Now we can fully modify the size of the dialog by height and width. It can either be full, auto, short, medium, tall, extra tall. So a lot of options here. For the height, I prefer to go with auto because then depending on the number of fields that you have in the form, it's going to scale automatically. For the width, depending on the form that you've created, I do like to go ahead and play with medium, medium plus, wide, etc., depending on the columns and how the fields show on the screen. So yeah, this is a nice new feature, being able to resize those specific dialogues. I mean, ideally, I would like to see in the future a way that we can resize it on the screen at runtime, depending on whatever fields we have there. But yeah, this is neat that there's more customization available. I'm just gonna hit cancel. Now, the second feature of 25.2 is the style text editor's new formatting options. So let's have a look at that when we are capturing the description or a description field or a recipe field for our grocery list. So I am going to go ahead and come back to this one in particular. Now I'll have to revert the changes that I've made so we can see we can see how it looks like. I'm just gonna quickly go ahead and remove my record reordering, which should be right about row data. Where is it? There we go. Row data field. And we're going to remove this and allow reordering. So if we move back to design mode, for the description, or actually let's go ahead and add the recipe one because we haven't added that one. So I'm going to drag and drop the style text editor over here. And I'm going to name this the recipe details. And display value would be I've added it in the item. So unfortunately, I've added it in the item, but it's fine. We can just go ahead and use the description. So I'll add the description here in the description. So instead of adding the recipe to the grocery list, I've added it to grocery list item, but it's all right. So I'm just gonna remove this description field from here. And let's see how this looks like. Now, we don't have the new features here out of the box. You have to go ahead and configure it. So to do that, you will have to scroll down in the component configuration in the allowed formats and go into edit mode. It does say here that by default, all the formats are allowed except table, subscript, and superscript. So what I like to do is just copy paste this whole list from here and paste it in my expression field, hit OK. And now we have the subscript and superscript, and we can capture our recipe details. I can actually say here be there or be square. And there we go. We have the superscript. You can make this bold, italic, underline, and even put it in the table, or because then it's going to remove our text. But we can add a table with it. Now, why not save this? The allowed list format. What happened here? It's a glitch in the matrix. So you know it's real, right? Because it's happening in real time. So be there or be square. Now, if we look within our record, in our rule input, we can see the description, and we can see that this is using HTML format behind the scenes. There's a new tag there, SUP, and that is why the extra long text is that more important, right? Because when you're capturing a text that you're formatting, you've got all of these HTML tags. There are basically, let's call it dead characters or dead weight that will bloat up your character count. So I highly encourage you using the extra long text for this one. The next feature that I want to highlight for 25.2 is the AI Document Center, which is a new application that is available to our customers. I have it open over here. It basically allows you to manage your AI models for classifying and extracting data from documents, emails, you name it. Now, I'm just going to create a quick extraction model to show you how quickly you can go ahead and extract data from your documents. So extract accord fields. This is a document format used in insurance within the US space. So a neat feature for this one, besides being able to define sections, page ranges, etc., you can go ahead and create and configure the AI skill manually. You can describe the fields, or my favorite is to extract from documents. So I've got a PDF document. You could also use a text or an Excel workbook. And if I'm going to go and have my demo data here, it is the claims demo. So I'm going to get this field. I'm going to upload my Accord file, which is this one. If I'm going to quickly look at it, You see there are a lot of fields over here, text fields, checkboxes, tables, and so on. And this goes on and on and on and on. So let's see how AI is able to help me to extract the elements from this one. It is going to take a couple of seconds to go through the document. There we go. We have a lot of fields going from civil union, marital status, insured name, etc., down to tables, witnesses, injured parties. Uh, Everything was captured by generative AI. Now, you do have to go ahead and double check and see that these pieces of data, all the fields were captured. But imagine having to do this by hand. It takes a long time and there's human error. Of course, you still have to double check it, but more than half of the work is already done. And then you just hit next. And this is the prompt that was generated for the generative AI skill to extract the data. Now you can either get this prompt and create a new A skill on another environment, or save the extraction model here. We see that these objects will be generated, 6 design objects, and these process models. And what you can do is, after these objects are generated, you can continuously test them and version them. And when you're happy with the result, you can go ahead and deploy your models to other environments to be used with your Appian applications. And this is just a tiny bit of AI Document Center. I'm sure you're going to find more information online. We'll probably have more videos highlighting the features and functionalities of this new application. Now, last but not least, the bonus section of 25.2 is Data Fabric Insights interacting with charts. I'm going to switch over to Process HQ, and I'm going to switch over to my data catalog. I'm going to select my vehicles record, and let's create a quick chart. Let's see how many vehicles from each category we have. So I've selected the category, and we'll select the vehicle ID. And if we aggregate this, we can see we've got these many convertibles, these many luxury, these many sedans. And actually, let's go ahead and see how many of them are in which condition and maybe in which status. Yeah, so we have a lot of options here. Now, if we go ahead and create a stacked column on this, we see we've got these many convertibles, these many luxury and sedans. So I want to see what's the status of my convertibles. And I'm going to add a new column category, status 1. So we can see that for convertible, we've got this many active, 11, in maintenance 30, and inactive 9. If I go ahead and drill down, which is the feature, now we can go ahead and drill down into the charts, so you can interact with the charts. For convertible, we actually see how many are active and what are the condition values that they have. And depending on the levels that you create, you can drill down, up and down. So I think this is a neat feature that was already available in charts within Appian application, and now we've brought it to Data Fabric Insights as well. Thank you for your time. Please let us know in the comments section if you want to see other types of videos or other areas of the local platform that you want us to explore. If you find this useful, and why not, what are your top 3 features of the latest Appian release? Thank you, and see you next time.